We have a match, Brian. Is it true you have agreed to terms with Benthebettor on a head-to-head DFS match?
It is true. The rumors are true.
Let's for maybe people who aren't familiar with how this all materialized, I believe this all started with Benthebettor putting out a tweet saying that GPPs and DFS is dumb because anyone can win if they have 150 lineups. Would you say that's the gist of it?
That's the gist of it. I don't think there's much more than that. Yeah.
And was there any, like, I didn't go through his timeline to see, was he having an argument with someone ahead of time about this?
I think so. Yeah. I wasn't really going through it either.
Yeah. And so then a bunch of the DFS guys, wanted to get in on the fun because that's a trope that, you normally hear from the reply guys on DFS that if I had 150 lineups, I could win too. You quote retweeted it. There were a couple people. I don't know if you must have been the only one to actually formally offer a contest, right?
Yeah, I guess I was the first probably.
And did he DM you right away, or how did that start to materialize?
He let's see, I'm going through it right now. There's the whole threads up there. He was talking to somebody. The Siege, I guess it started with, believe it or not. Everyone knows
let me get the original Genesis.
Why don't you bring it up? But yeah, he says max entering a contest. What skill do you really need? You retards ruin DFS with your lineup sharing and collusion.
And so is he implying that he used to be a more regular DFS player, but then didn't like the ecosystem because of the optos? Is that what he's saying?
I guess that's kind of what he's getting at. He doesn't say that specifically, and that's why he sticks to single entry contests.
Yeah, I'm trying to find some of the these initial. And what do we have any frame of reference for Benthebettor heading into this? Was he a name you knew?
I knew him because he just did that contest against Rob Pizzola, the sports bettor. He played against his pet turtle.
And how did that go?
I don't know. I can't.
Okay.
Does anyone know in the chat? Honestly, it might say in his tweets there somewhere.
Yeah. Man, it is hard to find all of these threads here. But we can bounce around. You guys did inevitably. What was the negotiation like before you arrived at this deal?
Yeah, I said this, and then he said like, no, for some reason. I said, what if I give you odds? And then he said, yeah.
Okay. And so
so then we started DMing more details after that.
Yeah.
And then so I sent him, I can't even remember how it went exactly, but he didn't want to play. He didn't want to play in the contest. Like the minimum contest I'm allowed to play is $5 or more.
Right.
Or something like that. And so he didn't want to play in any of those. So then he's like, why don't you play yours and I'll play the mini max.
Yeah.
Right. Whatever, 50 cent, 150. There's not that many 150s at those stakes. I think there's like the quarter arcade in that one.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, whatever. If that's the only thing you'll play, then we could do it. But then I sent him I was looking into it and stuff, and it didn't make any much sense. It's like you're not proving what you wanted to prove to begin with, of like you can just max enter and win because you're not really playing the real stuff.
Yeah.
And like there's different amounts of players in those and the prize structures are different and stuff. It's like, how exactly right could we get it? Was, I don't know, it wasn't like the best way to do it. So I'm like, if we do that, like, I don't want to give you any odds. Like, it's not that fun. It's so much easier to play in those anyways. I'm like, but if you do, well, how about this? We'll do the CSV. We talked on Discord, me and you, and I'm like, what if we do a CSV and we'll just track it? You play in the quarter arcade, play in the whatever you want.
Yeah. And
we'll just port it over and act like whatever you get in there, you get. And then we'll track that way. So we're basically playing in the same tournament. And he's like, yeah, all right. And he agreed.
And it initially started with NBA only, but now it's expanded.
Yeah, it was his idea too. Well, because he wants like whatever. What is this? 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks to prepare.
Okay, you guys are starting. When's the start date?
June 1st.
June 1st, and it's how many total slates?
30 slates. And so now that he wants to do multiple sports, theoretically we can get it done in, I don't know, 20 days, 25 days.
Right, because it would have taken you a lot longer if you were only doing a couple sports. And now you added MMA was a late breaking addition.
Yeah. So originally it was he just wanted to do NBA, but then he told me he was betting tennis that night. I'm like, they have tennis DFS. I'll do that too. So he said okay. And then when he wanted the extra 2 weeks or whatever, I'm like, the NBA season's going to be over. Like, there's not enough games left. He's like, let's just add MLB then. I'm like, okay, fine. I mean, that's fine with me. And then someone commented in the chat in Twitter, like, you guys should play MMA. And he's like, okay. And then Rosalind from Osmo goes, now you guys should add PGA. I'm like, okay, I'll add PGA too. But he hasn't responded to that one yet. So I don't think we're adding PGA.
Okay. And what was the final odds that you gave him that he agreed to?
Plus 175.
And did you lead with that and he accepted, or was there a haggling on that?
No, I led with that and he accepted.
Okay. And can you say how much you put down with him?
We're still talking about the exact amount. He's
Okay.
trying to get like backers and stuff.
Backers. Okay. And have you gotten anyone interested in side action yet?
No bites yet.
Yeah, I mean, just from public sentiment on Twitter and Discord, it seems like it's going to be hard for you to get side action.
Yeah, probably. We'll see. I don't know. I think people are giving me a little too much credit. Like if let's just say it was all random, like then it would be 50-50, right? Because it's just a coin flip. Like you have to admit in 30 slates, there's randomness here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I've lost a month straight.
And it's also ROI. It's similar to the EM2 Osmo one, right? Where if one of them binks one, like the contest is almost over.
Yeah, and I threw another bet at him too, which would just be, can he be plus EV at all? We haven't figured that out yet. He actually hasn't even responded, I don't think yet. But
which one? What do you think is a higher likelihood of happening? Him being plus EV altogether, or him beating you?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We haven't come to odds yet, Pete.
I know you got it. No, I'm giving you a chance to play it up here. Act a little bit, Brian.
He's a huge favorite in both of them. I mean, like 170.
So another funny thing about this whole thing is this all came from him saying, anyone with an optimizer, anyone with 150 lineups can be successful. Of course, naturally, you have to assume he's going to use someone's projections, someone's optimizer, just like everyone has access to. But on top of this, he's requested to have a DFS coach. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah.
What are the stipulations? Because I did see a lot of people asking, how are you going to enforce him not just using this pros lineups?
It's really just on the honor code. There's not much I can do.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I doubt he wants to get caught, like it ruin his reputation. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know a ton about him, but it's also illegal. I mean, on the sites to do that. So whoever the pro is risking their account. If they're a pro, why would they do that? And then we'll do like before we finish, I want to know like who the pro is too.
I was just going to ask that. I assume that's part of it. Like that has to be announced, because then you could easily check if they're running a 150 set, you could find out what's going on with that.
And plus just for all the side bets and stuff, like the people would want to know. And, like there's like a book that wants to do a line on us and put it on their sports book.
Yeah.
But they haven't figured it out yet. So like I'm assuming they would want to know too.
So hypothetically, if you didn't get any side action at this price, the posted price with Ben, would you move the odds at all for side action?
Never. Maybe.
Well, the thing for you is like, this isn't, you're not doing anything different with this bet than you otherwise would, right? Or is there maybe some sport you might be playing that you wouldn't otherwise play?
No. I'll play any of them, but I might concentrate a little more depending how big these bets get. But that's pretty much it. I guess if like I got down, I might take some, I don't know, crazy shots or something. I don't even know. I'm playing first every time anyway, so I don't really know what I could do
to change up your just normal strategy.
Yeah.
And I mean, like you said, I mean, if you're max entering one of these, like the amount of volume you're going to have, and even a $10, thing, like, I don't know how much money your guys' bet is going to be, but like, it would have to be a decent amount to incentivize you to play differently than you normally would.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess, and here's the other thing too, you have to enter 150, right? So like, let's say I build up a lead. I mean, you can't like really play it safe in DFS 150. I mean, you can maybe a little bit. I could just go a little chalkier, but I mean, you could still, if you go chalky and you don't diversify, you could probably, the best would probably just be like as diversified and chalky as you can be at the end.
Yeah.
And that's still not guaranteeing anything though.
Right. Yeah. That just seems like a weird spot. Like if the action you guys get down is, I mean, I don't even know what the ballpark is, but if you're only betting like $1,000 side bet and you're having like, 1,500 or, whatever these max amount you're putting in there, like it doesn't seem like, it almost is just like a byproduct, a little fun little thing on the side, not something you'd actually be tailoring your play to.
Yeah, if he doesn't get any backers, or I can't get any money down with any books, or no one wants the side bet, then what am I going to do?
Yeah, that's interesting. And do you have you gotten any hints about who the coach might be? There was a little back and forth with Empire Maker today, but it seemed like that was a false flag. Yeah,
Empire Maker and one other guy. I think it was Sahir or something like that. His Twitter, I know his Twitter handle, but not what his DFS name is.
Okay.
But he had some binks, he was saying, and I guess he was trying to coach him up a little bit. But those are the only two. Oh, and one other, I don't know if he wanted it announced that he was talking to, so I won't say who it was, but I didn't recognize the name.
Okay.
Anyways, so yeah, Empire Maker said Empire Maker kind of shot him down. And I'm like, I wonder if there's a little head fake, and then he's going to try to slide into my DMs through a proxy and get some side bet action or something.
Yeah, it would be. Hopefully, did you ask Ben if he would come on the show at all, or if he'd be interested in doing some content around the match?
Yeah. I think he wants to if there's time.
Okay.
I guess he's just busy with something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we got some time.
Now we got some time too, so maybe we can.
Yeah, I think that would definitely be a nice thing, because I would like him. I think it would be good for him to kind of expand on where this was coming from, where he thinks that, DFS has been ruined, and just kind of getting in his mindset, because I do think the whole thing of working with a pro kind of like undercuts his whole premise.
Right. Yeah. It does. Like if 150 max, and like, let's say he believes me that I don't collude, which I don't, and there's plenty of record on it that he can find out. Like, so I don't collude, and it's just him versus me, you know, as far as ROI. So if other people are colluding, we're both affected the same way, so it shouldn't matter. And you enter 150 and you should win. I mean, it's the same old song we've heard for how many years now.
Right. I mean, I feel like the spirit of the bet, like if I challenged you to this bet, it would be like, I'm just going to use Osmo's projections and I'm going to run the 150 set and do whatever special sauce I think I can. But like for him, it seems like he should just have his projection source that he trusts, the optimizer he likes, and then do his thing to prove that it is just a crapshoot once you have 150 lineups.
He says he does prop bets too, so he should have projections. Easily turn those into DFS projections. I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. but I think he. I mean, I want to hear what you think. We're just guessing, obviously, but like what he's thinking. My guess is like I think he just thinks he's pro sports better. It translates. He doesn't know a ton about DFS, but from what he knows, he's just like, yeah, this 150 stuff is a huge advantage. And if I really concentrated and take a couple weeks out of my life, you know, I'm a dog to this guy because he's a pro, but I could show everyone, like, yes, I was right. You could basically just 150, and as long as you're decent, you know. And then what happened was everyone's Twitter mentions and stuff scared him. He said he DM'd me. He's like people are telling me that you're one of the best players in the world.
Well, it's who else would have the confidence to call your bluff on this? Someone who could back up their play, right? Like, yeah. I mean, I would do this challenge against Benthebettor, but but I don't have the confidence to go quote retweet and drum up a bunch of side action over it.
Right. Yeah. Well, he didn't know apparently, and now he does. So then that's when he wanted coaching and then the whole mini max thing came up because part of bankroll.
It's like going to an Olympic track and being like, if anyone had those custom spike track shoes that Usain Bolt has, that I could win the 100-meter at the Olympics too. And then Usain Bolt walks out. It's like, all right, let's get you custom built shoes. Let's go. And then he's like, wait. Oh, now I don't want to do this.
Right. I mean, we I don't know how many times we've talked about this, but we've talked about this over the year, and so we've done these. It's like if you're negative EV, the more you enter, the worse money you're going to lose.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why anyone would think no. If you just enter 150, even if I'm not good, that'll overcome it. It's like no, each one's going to get progressively worse.
Yeah, that's why this is. There's a reason why it would take that you don't see these kind of matches versus other like DFS regulars, right? Because DFS regulars know the deal. They've been through it in and out. They know the variance. They know what their relative ROI is in these contests over a big sample size, like where their edges are. It would take an outsider who is not familiar with that kind of, I don't know, ebb and flow to think that that wasn't the case. Right.
And so, you know, to sell the other side here,
sell it.
Blender and Nelson Adcock both are giving him a shot. You know, about like those odds are about right.
Yeah.
So you know, I'm not the only one. Like
here's Blender's tweet. The line, the implied odds are him winning less than 36% of the time, and Jordan saying he thinks he actually would win more than 36% of the time.
Yeah. I mean, like,
watching you try to share your thoughts and not kill your action is hilarious.
I mean, it's okay. He could theoretically bank.
Of course.
He could bing too.
Just like I could theoretically win this CryptoPunk in this PGA Championship DraftKings contest.
That's not going to happen because I put the nuts in there.
How many did you put in?
Just one. I don't.
Yeah. It's like a third full right now.
Oh yeah, well now it's great. Now everyone knows paid. Now
no, I mean think about this. They priced that. They put that contest up and did the structure like pre the market tanking. Like I assume the EV of that contest was already kind of absurd with how top heavy it is, and then you have ETH and the punk floor dropping a little bit. It's probably gotten even worse.
Have you looked? I haven't even looked at like what the crypto punk floor is.
I mean, I guess it's a little tricky because the punk isn't a floor punk, but it has dropped a little bit.
It's gotta, because now you gotta like. They're anchored to the amount of ether a person would have, you know? So it's like, oh, I was going to pay 10 ETH. Now I got to pay 20 ETH. Fuck that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And Nelson, to go back to this, he's saying someone would have to be totally branded to be a significant dog at plus 175. I feel like there's way more ways to mess up a 150 set than Nelson is giving credit to.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of right. Like, it's the edge isn't that much. That's a pretty big edge. I think Blender pretty much hit the nail on the head. If he's going to do this all on his own, 175 is a really good price for me. If he's going to get a lot of help and hopefully, follows the rules and it's just strategic help and he has to make his own lineups using an optimizer, whatever he wants, I don't care, but make him and enter him himself. Then he's definitely, I mean, he's got, whatever, 25%, 35% chance. Sure.
The was the 175 agreed on after the kind of coaching element or before it? So that was part of it.
Yeah. We agreed on pretty much everything. Then 175
is your calculation when you agree to that price with a coach, just that he wouldn't be able to get a coach that would actually intimidate you as far as having them in their corner?
I wanted him to play.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, fine.
Whatever you want.
Whatever you want, I'll do. And then eventually it's like mini max with a coach and EM2's interested now. It's like, this is getting out of control. Let's just figure something out where we play at least the same tournament,
Yeah. It's tough with these bets because they're super fun to track. Like the Osmo Empire Maker one was super fun, but like it is really hard to actually prove your point when sample size is the name of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I thought 30 was good. It's like kind of, I took to Steve Buzzard about it too on DMs, and he's like, that's probably enough because like we can't play for like 2 years. You know what I mean? So it's like you gotta have, but you don't want to play for like 5, like the Osmo EM2 challenge. That was too short, right? Like, they needed to play another 10 or 15 matches at least. So 30 is about. I mean, how long can you drag this out for? So 30's fine. And like, I don't know, like he could get lucky. I've lost for a month straight. It's not impossible. Yeah. And then there's just, the variance in between that where maybe he gets a second and I get a seventh instead of, and that's the difference.
And don't we now have that Twitter account, right? Who's going to track the match?
Yeah, DFS play-by-play. I think.
Yeah, let me pull this up here.
I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm checking CoinMarketCap as the show's live.
Really? I deleted the widgets from my phone. I haven't looked all day.
Good for you.
So here you go. Yeah, DFS. I'll post the link in the chat here. He's going to be doing play-by-play.
Empire Maker tweet.
Wow. Man. That was a rough interaction for Ben there.
Yeah.
It's hopefully he can get some backers. Hopefully, I mean, for this match to be interesting, I'm getting a little echo from you, Brian. It would be, I kind of am actually rooting for him to get a respected coach. Because right now, like you said, the overall sentiment is it's going to be hard for you to get action. So we need some things to push sentiment in the other direction.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of a rock and a hard place. Like it's DFS. So you can't give like minus 300 or something. It's like, it's not like we're running laps or something.
Well,
not that I would win that, but
I do think one nice thing for actually determining the skill game aspect of it is the fact that you guys are playing a bunch of different sports, because there's still like sport level nuances across those 150. Like it's not like all of them are golf, which I personally like would not want to have for all the marbles head to head. Who's the better 150 max on golf? Like that seems like a nightmare, but you smooth it out over some of these other sports that actually require a little more heft.
I think that's part of like this whole myth of 150 too. You need that, I think, to play multiple sports. It's like, okay, well, you can enter 150 in any sport and win. Okay, let's find out.
Yeah.
I think you'll probably hemorrhage money unless you got a good coach. That's also an issue. It's like, what's this coach? What's this? How intensive is this in coaching going to be? You know, are they going to play by the rules?
I consider myself like a slightly above average DFS player. I think I'm a losing player lifelong in the mini max. Like the mini max is hard. I mean, especially when you're gunning for first in those tournaments. That's the entire goal. And you brick out a lot.
I was talking to some people in my Discord though who play it, and they said they weren't even doing that much, and they're up 7% on the year.
7%. Okay.
Mini max, yeah.
And they're grinding it night in, night out.
Yeah, they're playing it plenty of times. Yeah, enough.
Yeah. What is even? I guess like I'm not. Because I play low stakes too. But like, what is even that actual ROI at those stakes? Like to warrant like, because that requires a lot of time to do that right too.
Sure. Yeah. 7% is good though. I mean, I'll take 7%.
Yeah. Well, you take 7%.
Playing, yeah.
At the higher stakes is a lot different than at the mini max.
Right.
All right. Maybe. Yeah. I've admittedly never put as much time into trying to do it just because it does truly feel very daunting to me. But maybe once Benthebettor beats you, I will realize that I too can just max enter the mini max and I'll start firing.
Here's my plan after he beats me. No, if I'm lucky enough to win, I'm gonna challenge Vegas Dave once and for all. We're gonna find out.
I think people would rather see you challenge UConn Dave.
UConn Dave. We already are challenging each other. It doesn't just look at the CSVs.
That is true. You guys are
in there.
Are you? You guys are both max entering the same contest generally?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How many people across like? How many UConn Dave level players are there right now who are like max entering like across multiple sports? Like
we don't know how good UConn Dave is just yet, but
you need more than 30 slates.
I don't know, like there's usually like 30, I think 150 maxers in between like I don't know, I want to say 30 and 50 maybe.
Yeah,
it depends on the sport and the day. Like on the weekends, sometimes there's a lot less. Not as many as you'd think. They had a $5 MLB yesterday or whatever, a couple days ago, which is kind of low for the main GPP, and that had a lot more 150 maxers, guys taking shots.
Yeah. Eric wants you to challenge Vegas Dave so we can get him on the show.
Yeah.
Everything's a content play. It's just who can we get on the show? I actually love this. If Whistles joined the dark side, he was so upset by your line of questioning on the show that he goes into Benthebettor's. I mean, talk about a made-for-TV DFS movie. Benthebettor and UConn Dave.
Yeah. With how open he was about his process, I think there's like a 0% chance of that happening.
Somebody do the challenge if I could get David Kitchen as my coach.
No dice, even money. Yeah, well, somebody said in my Discord that Benthebettor was just Whistle Goes Woo's burner account.
Yeah, that would be just the longest con. It was like we were already amazed at everything that UConn Dave was pulling off with a family and a professor and max entering this, and he has also been building up this character on Twitter called Benthebettor. I did see someone here because they referenced that he had played against that turtle. And someone said he lost to the turtle, which
so he did lose.
He lost. So I do think the way this works, if I understand the transitive property, is that if you lose to Benthebettor, it means a turtle could beat you at DFS.
I wouldn't doubt it. Someone said in my Discord or my YouTube that he also lost to a little girl. So someone let their daughter pick or something.
Are you concerned that these are generally the types of people he's challenging to these contests, Brian? Turtles, little girls, BRIC75.
Well, people should take my bet, take my side then, right?
It's true. It's true.
He's comparing me with those.
I will say, if we unpack this a little bit from a motivation standpoint here, he does seem very willing to engage in these challenges, even when it doesn't seem like he might have as big of an edge as he thinks. Do we think this is a content play for Benthebettor?
Probably. This is what I wanted you to answer, honestly, because like I told you, I think I'm always wrong about these things, but like I was thinking like he just thinks he's good. He's like some guys just think they know a lot about sports or something.
Yeah,
he does props, so you'd think he prices those himself. I mean, that's what I would think, but what do you think?
We're back into the territory of, does he have his own projection models for these stuff?
And motivation for all this.
So my honest answer is I can't imagine someone thinking like DFS is just as easy as whoever has 150 lineups also being math savvy enough to like build their own projection system. That feels like it doesn't add up to me logically. We also don't know, like, if you told me, if we knew for a fact he is a winning bettor, but like, it seems whenever, I mean, I haven't even, doesn't he have his record in his bio? Have we even looked at this?
I think he does. Yeah. And he has a Patreon.
Are you going to subscribe for intel?
Maybe I will. How much is it?
Let's see here.
And just record too, I did offer that I would prop bet too, if he wanted to do both.
Yeah. So this doesn't look good so far for 2021.
It's running cold.
He saved all of his run good for his DFS head-to-head match.
Someone should tell him esports is rigged.
Oh yeah, he has no idea what's going on with this. Yeah,
maybe
so
he
I don't
update it yet.
I mean, this is a rough. I do kind of understand how a turtle could win flipping coins here. All right. So I mean, I'll give him props for just having this spreadsheet just in his bio. At least he's not. It doesn't seem like he's going cash out king style. You know, it's a little more transparent.
And taking this challenges too. I mean, you got to give the guy some credit here. I mean, I wouldn't take a challenge versus a turtle because, like, what if you run bad?
Well, that's what's my thing about a content play is like, at least with you, right? If he loses to you, like, you're one of the best DFS players. Like, there's no shame in losing to you in DFS. Yeah. There is shame in losing to a turtle flipping coins.
Right. Yeah. I guess that's that would look bad if I lose, won't it?
Corey says this looks like my Pete's Bankroll Challenge spreadsheet. I can't win with you guys. Lou was mad at me for winning at DFS this year. He said it was my my worst bet yet. And then Corey is referencing my spreadsheet from 2 years ago. So if I'm damned if I win and I'm damned if I lose, Brian, I literally can't win with these guys.
You and Benthebettor, man. No respect.
I know. Why can't I get action with Benthebettor? Single entry.
He will.
Yeah, maybe then after he'll pivot and saying anyone can win if you could only put in one lineup.
Do you have any pets?
I don't. No pets. No turtles. No nothing. What was I think Pardon My Take, the Barstool guys did that earlier in their show run. They had the goldfish that I think they were picking lines on. Yeah, I need a pet. I feel like that's the go-to betting gimmick of just saying that this thing at a 50% hit rate can do better than a lot of people trying.
Yeah, and that's probably true. Well,
hey, I was just there's this guy, Eric, who we're having conversations and he's only talking about crypto. Eric, I feel like you're having a conversation about crypto with yourself. Every one of your comments is just randomly about crypto. Who are you talking to, Eric?
What's hopium? You think I'm gonna like say that everything's gonna be okay?
I'm pretty sure, Brian, you were actually very bearish in this short to midterm last we talked, even during this bull run.
Yeah, and so the whole economy.
Yeah.
It's too bad I haven't profited off my own logic.
Yeah, I know you. You moved. I think I definitely bought the top in some places. That's for sure.
Yeah, I saved like a little bit, and then I thought the 43 or 42 was the bottom.
This is even better. I had the volume off until now. You're rage posting in a chat with it muted, Eric. I'm worried about you, dude. You're like an old man watching Wheel of Fortune who can't hear what they're saying, just screaming at the television set.
Eric, you might have too much of your net worth invested in crypto, pal.
I want to try that. I feel like that would be a good bit of just being a commenter on a show while just having it muted. No context whatsoever. Eric, we could tell. Yeah. It's been rough out there. I completely what?
He's got the volume off, just rage tilt chatting at us.
The thing, like,
why us?
I can't trust me. Like, I understand watching sports like muted. You know, you're just watching hockey. Yeah. Like, it makes complete sense. I really don't know what you're getting out of this show. I feel like we need to dance for him now, or just some kind of kinetic energy for the people watching on mute.
If I could do that, I would have stopped I would have rain danced that drop, the dip at about 45K.
I feel like maybe we need to like change up our backgrounds a little bit, just something here to make it a little more fun for the people watching on mute. Man, I'm so shook by that. I now, every time I'm going to be like, you know, for those of you guys watching at home, for those of you guys watching on your phones, for those of you guys watching on mute, hi. Oh my goodness.
I mean, maybe you just do that and then you listen back later. Like, you don't have time. So you're just like, oh, I wanted to talk about this. And then you hang up and leave. So I just wanted to get that question in.
Yeah. AK is working on his lip reading and I get to just think what you say I want. That's another good way to do it. Maybe, Eric, I'm going to say the crypto markets are going to rebound, but I'm just going to mouth it for you here. All right.
Wow.
There you go, Eric. That one was for you, buddy. Right.
What if he never turned it on? He's like, yeah, I'm listening on me. I still haven't turned it on.
No, he heard. All right. Frank wants us to talk a little PGA here. I absolutely have to remember to submit my punk lineup, and I haven't done anything. But I've heard it's easy to run a 150 set. Maybe I just pick the best one.
Just run a 150, throw them all in there.
Have you run punk? Have you run your stuff?
I did.
Yeah. Anything interesting?
Well, it's a milli maker. So my lineups, if anyone out there is reviewing them afterwards, it's for a milli maker. So keep that in mind. So I have some garbage golfers in here and under the cap, all sorts of good stuff like that.
Who's the chalk this week?
Hovland and Answer.
Okay. And are you good chalk or bad chalk?
So like my highest owned player is Answer, but at 25% only. So It's really spread out.
Okay.
And my pool's a little wider than normal. I have like 78 players used, maybe less than that, like 75. Probably 65 is a little better than that. I like to keep it like under what is like what a reasonable cut number would be. So there's 65 plus ties normally. And just try to get as many golfers as you can through the cut.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going wider and like really diversified with some of the long shots.
Yeah. Who do you like up top? I'm just looking at win percentage. What? John Rahm, JT, so Shoffley.
I'm under on all the pricey guys and over in the like second tier.
Okay, so the Hovland, Webb Simpson, Berger.
Yeah, but starting there, I'm starting to go over. So Cantlay.
Okay.
And then I'm like even or over with all those other guys.
Gotcha.
Finau, Scheffler, Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick missed the cut last week as chalk. In previous years, that should drop the ownership by a point or two at least. But nowadays, everyone's getting so good, it probably will stay about where it's supposed to.
Yeah.
And I've used my ownership also too. So if you're using someone else's ownership, it's going to look different, and you're going to have different exposures.
How is do we think I saw lots of tweets today with the market being so bad that there's going to be all these new professional poker players? Do we think the DFS action is going to be pretty good? Everyone trying to make some money elsewhere?
Maybe. I mean, you'd figure if like asset prices are going up because everyone has money and there's not a lot of products to buy, which is the argument, then you figure that's already happening in DFS now. So,
yeah.
I mean, after 2008, poker wasn't that bad. Like everyone thought, like, oh no, we're gonna suffer. It wasn't that bad considering the games were getting so much tougher and stuff. So, I mean, I don't know, but I'm guessing we're not going to really see anything yet. I mean, even if it goes down even more.
Lacey, you're going to have to specify here. Is it how I'm wearing the hat or how Brian's wearing the hat? I'm guessing me. Lacey, thank you for watching. I don't think we ever have females watching, although we do sometimes have dudes on their girlfriend and wives burners commenting on there. So, I mean, I hate to miscategorize you as a non-Lolz fan, but regardless, welcome to the show.
Yeah, for some reason, I doubt that it's Lacey.
This is for you, the rest of the show, Lacey. How you doing, fellow
the one
Laceys?
The one girl who finally watches this show is really attractive. I feel like the probability of that is near nil.
Yeah, maybe this is it could be a Benthebettor burner.
What if it's Ben's girl?
It could be. It could be. I mean, I apologize, Lacey. I shouldn't have made assumptions about who you are.
Ben Johnson.
Who's Ben Johnson?
I don't know.
We don't know his last name. I was looking for a photo of him for the thumbnail, and all I could find was his Twitter avatar. That was the only stuff I could find out there. Yeah,
based on his Twitter avatar, I was like, should I play this guy? Is this guy over 16 years old? Is this like child abuse? Because it just looks like a young person in the avatar.
Yeah. Man, I do again, like, it's such tough sledding for those guys that do like the Cash Out King style, building up your Twitter brand around prop bet picks. It seems truly miserable to do that.
Yeah. Lacey here. I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna lay -300, dude.
Okay. How can we, Lacey? If you have a Twitter, DM me. You can come on the show here. You can accept Brian's bet, and then come on the show.
Bet somebody else. If you are in fact a girl.
This is definitely not a girl. We've just moved the line to -500.
That's why I saw that, and that's why I moved the line. Yeah.
No, honestly, we're begging females to watch this show. They just have chosen not to up to this point.
We can't even get girls to like appear on the show, like in the sports betting world.
Oh my goodness. All right. Someone asked, should we do a Lolz golf contest?
If you guys want.
I mean, I'm making one lineup for the crypto punks. I might as well toss it. I'll make a Lolz contest.
All right, let's do it.
For those of you guys who aren't in the Discord yet, we got the Lolz channel. We did MMA contests we've been doing. And I've just been doing these small at 20, so they auto size if it doesn't fill. But if these start to fill, we can make them bigger.
Do you want to talk about that Rufus Peabody thread? Yeah,
let's do it.
I mean, it's probably pointless too, but I thought this was an interesting comment that I kind of see differently than I probably would have 5 years ago.
Oh, I actually did see this post, and I saw you making another historical example, and I was really worried it was get into dicey territory, but you stuck the landing.
So go to click on Anthony's there, and then you could see the first one. Yeah, right there, yeah. Bettors are more honest with themselves and learn more quickly than academics. When being wrong costs you money, you can only be stubborn for so long.
So this is just we're just having the skin in the game conversation.
Yeah, but it's more than skin in the game, in my opinion. It's kind of my point. And like, you know, betting on things, it's kind of like, this is kind of the trope that Rufus is talking about, that most gamblers say, but there's actually like, economic principles behind why it's true. Yeah. And this is what I respond to Anthony in my tweet.
Hang on, let's see what's Anthony saying here. My major rebuttal here is that this is basically just an argument for experience, which is far easier to obtain than knowledge, given the academic experience, and they will likely adapt, adjust, and thrive better than someone with less knowledge. And you're saying that the experience is having the skin in the game.
Yeah, I'm saying that, and I go on later too, that there's two parts to it. So like, one is like, how do you come to the best practices? Academics do it one way, and businesses and gamblers, not that there's a huge difference between the two, in my opinion, come to it a different way. And this is kind of like the crux of central planning and free market too. It's the principles are all the same. It's not just gambling. And as we've talked about in this show, like, a lot of things in life are gambling. Who you date, what college you go to, what major you pick, whether you buy a car, even the housing market, stocks are gambling, right? On and on. And it's like, okay, well, why is there a big difference between the two? And Mises points out in the economic calculation problem with socialism essay he wrote in the 20s is that it's essentially impossible to figure out the value, to distinguish value in something without like a profit loss structure. So like, for example, if you were going to run a store with no profit loss, how many customer service employees do you use? Like, how would you judge that?
Yeah, it would be impossible.
Anything you do in your business, this is all through price discovery and profit loss. And so like an academic would say, you do a study, and then the study says like, you can do a survey on customer satisfaction and stuff like that, right? Because the academic doesn't have a business, so they're just guessing, essentially, right? This is how they come to a lot of their conclusions. I mean, I'm conflating these two things a little bit, but this is kind of the point I'm trying to drive home. But none of those things matter if you can't practice it out in the real world. And so his critique, Mises' critique back then, was when the rise of socialism was really happening. Not today's definition of socialism. This is Marxism and the rise of communism across the world back then. And so in that world that he was arguing against, there simply was no price structures. So like the Russian central planner, I can't remember his name. It starts with a B. The like Russian central bank, I think, is still named after this guy. He literally would decide how much metal was produced for that season and how much wood they were going to use. And then you go over here and you do this, and this is what we're going to do. And that's not how value is distinguished in the world in any sort of successful manner, which of course, eventually they did collapse. So like, for example, like if you're building a high rise, you need sturdier metal. So you really will pay a premium for that. And then the next guy's building a house, for example. Well, he doesn't want to pay the premium. He could use wood. So there's different prices. The construction company might move closer to the lumber yard to save money. Then that changes the value of real estate. And all these interactions are how we decide and sort out value throughout society. And this is what gambling is too. It's the same thing is figuring out value through profit and loss. You could, because if you just, and then I give an example here and a couple down. Oh no, actually it was in the first one you had there. It was Yukon Dave. He wrote an article on how to beat DFS, right? And academic article, and he couldn't win on it. And he had to gamble to figure it out and then change. And a year later or whatever, a year and a half later, he started winning.
And that's actually probably the ultimate, right? Is if you had to pick one of two, obviously you would choose skin in the game, playing, being in the markets. I assume the best are people who are doing that and also studying and also looking.
Well, that's what I said too, is like the academic, you could do anything they can do in theory, but you also have the market, profit, loss, etc. But it's not, like I'm saying, it's not skin in the game. Like that's the old way I would think. It's like, seriously, how would you determine how many customer service employees you have if you didn't have profit and loss? Like this isn't skin in the game. Like you actually need these feedback mechanisms. Yeah. Otherwise, you're just completely in the dark. And the whole thing can fall apart.
I think it still is skin in the game, right? Because if you're running that business, you are having to pay these employees. You're having to pay for your inventory to try to run your business.
I guess, but like you could theoretically be a nonprofit, or you could just be a manager there where your skin in the game is, you can get fired, but it's not as big as actually a gambler where it's their net worth. Yeah. You can't decide without you could have someone come in and look at your numbers for you, granted you could give them a bad review or something, so they'd still have a little skin in the game, but not like gamblers, not like, and let me rephrase that. I'll just grant it. You're right. There is skin in the game, but the way people are thinking about it is just like, skin in the game. You're a gambler. Great. Got it. Right. It's like, but no, you actually can't even do this stuff without profit and loss. It's a big deal. Like it's a big realization.
Do you want to flesh out your whistle goes woo thing? Because I don't think he's understanding the point you were making about how it was the experience that led him to be successful.
I don't know. He said this on our show. I'm not making assumptions. I don't think, right. He wrote a DFS article and he said he still uses some of them. Mm-hmm. Blusk, you can go watch our video. He says it all in there. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? Whatever.
2 weeks.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
He was losing, and it took him a while, and through playing, he started winning. Not through writing academic research, but that doesn't even matter, because even if he just stayed in academic and has his current process, we still wouldn't know that he was a winner. You know what I mean? The only way you could determine these things is through feedback mechanisms.
Right.
Otherwise, it's all just a guess.
Yeah.
So like really quick, like the cops. You could say like, well, the cops, like we don't pay for cops. We have cops. Like, how does that work? Well, it's like, because we don't live in a completely socialist society, they can still use the free market to buy clothes, right, that are priced in the free market, like uniforms, guns, all sorts of things like that, right? And what Mises was saying is, if you couldn't do that, you're completely in the dark. How much do you charge for a police officer uniform? How many do you need? How many cops do you need? And then so the problems that we still have now is like, how many cops do we need? How many teachers should we have? Like, these are really hard. They're just guessing. Yeah. And it's done through the political process. It's not done through price discovery and feedback mechanisms that the traditional markets would satisfy. Right.
Michael, you must be new to Lolz. This is
the normal Lolz.
This is normal Lolz. It's maybe 2 times a year we get into head-to-head challenges and we discuss those. This is a regular episode of Lolz.
We weren't going to talk about it, but we were kind of waiting there. I'm like, oh, let's throw it out there. So like picture like if this is kind of be a sidebar, but Picture if the government ran shoes. They made the shoes. That's it. They had a monopoly on shoemaking. Right? They would have like no incentives for, making Versace shoes or Nikes or something like that, right? It would just be like workers' shoes, etc.
White New Balance shoes for everyone.
It would be god awful, and there would be shortages and stuff. But like even if there isn't shortages, it would be god awful. And if there was problems with it, people probably think, yeah, if there was problems with it, we'd go, okay, let's go to free market because we're going to have Nike. We're going to have all these great companies. They're going to have so many shoes that we're going to have to give them away to people. You can get shoes for free. They're shitty shoes that like, people wouldn't want them normally unless you're, poor, or we give them to third world countries. Right? No, what people would say is we have to give the government more money. They just need more money, and then the shoes will get better. Right? But really the problem is, you're screwed because you have no feedback mechanism. You need people deciding that Peter Jennings wants 800 pairs of Nikes and, this guy needs this. And then all through this process is why we have free fucking shoes. And you need shoes to survive, especially in Chicago and Boston in the winter, right? Like you can't just have no shoes. But I think
this is making sense. No, it does. Yeah. I do feel like it's a little bit of semantics with skin in the game, because to me it is saying that it's all just the money and the markets that help find that discovery.
Right. Which is why I said, okay, you're right. It is skin in the game. I'm just trying to like extrapolate on how much it's way more important than just going skin in the game. Right. It's like, this is the whole kit and caboodle. This is everything. Not everything, but it's a goddamn big part of, and then people just forget about it. Like they have no clue about this stuff and they just go, oh, just have the government run it.
Well, that's what I mean. I take DFS, right? Like I could study DFS 2-3 hours a day, 4 hours a day, look at lineup rewind, look at exposures, read game theory, whatever. But if I wasn't playing, it would take me so long to get good versus just throwing it in, trial by fire, learning, tweaking, doing all of that stuff in tandem with playing. Like I can't imagine learning something like, same with or take something like golf. Imagine trying to learn. You could read every book in the world about golf, but until you're actually playing, how are you ever going to get good at it? Yeah, for sure. But I feel like those are kind of somewhat separate. Like it would be more like making golf clubs, and like again, how would you know how many golf clubs to make? Right? With whatever the golf clubs are made of. How would you know how many resources to make throughout society? Yeah. Like there's no way to determine any of this stuff. Yeah. How did this what was Rufus's initial tweet? What started all this again?
That academics versus gamblers.
Okay. Gotcha.
And that's what I'm saying, because the academic, and I'm not shitting on academics here. I'm just trying to make the point because this is what academics do. They then influence, or the government asks for their assistance because they're all guessing. They go, we have this new thing. We don't know what we're doing. What do you guys think we should do? Yeah. And they're like, well, based on this model, this will happen. Okay, let's try that. But it's generally through the political process is much worse than even that. Like it's not necessarily even that scientific, right? Yeah. But yeah, and the reason being, obviously this doesn't apply to everything. We're just talking economics here, but is because there's no feedback mechanism.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. So skin in the game, feedback mechanism. Look into it.
There you go. And this is why when you challenge someone to head-to-head DFS, that it can only be decided in the DFS arena where feedback mechanisms prevail.
That's right.
Any final words? Maybe next week we could get Benthebettor on.
I doubt it. He seems pretty busy.
Okay.
So what is next week? 25, 26, and then maybe we'll see.
Well, I guess it's still then going to go on for probably a couple weeks after
at least
it starts. So maybe this is what you need to do, Brian. Can you sandbag at the start, and then he'll feel comfortable coming on when he's up?
Speaking of sandbagging, if BRIC78 starts sliding into people's DMs, taking Benthebettor plus 175, big action.
Bric
I
178.
forgot to enter a lineup. I was at RBX88's house last night partying.
Oh yeah, I want to get RBX88's thoughts on this. Maybe is he going to take Benthebettor here?
He hasn't even said anything to me.
Too much sex.
I don't think he
man.
knows it exists.
Too much sex to weigh in on these.
Way too busy.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching. As always, we have our iTunes link down below. You can listen to it in podcast form. We are here every Wednesday. I will remind me to make a Lolz contest. Someone ping me in the Discord if I forget. Is there MMA this weekend?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe we'll get an MMA one going. Been having lots of fun in the Discord with you guys. So for Brian Hooper, for Benthebettor, I'm Peter Overzet. We'll see you guys next time.